Welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host, Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
The box. You opened it, we came. Hellraiser! Yeah! I love these movies.
Is that how the song goes? Because that was a fun surprise at the end of the movie.
I wish I was more familiar with Ozzy Osbourne's discography because I was so excited and I thought like this was an original song that Motorhead came up with for the movie, and I was like, oh no, this is something Ozzy Osbourne came out with years ago and they just covered it. It's like, damn it!
Yeah.
But if you took the time to watch the music video, it's worth watching.
I did not watch the music video. No,
yeah.
I missed out on that one.
Yeah.
But I was just jaw
Directed
open.
by Clive Barker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Pinhead has like a game of chess with Lemmy from Motorhead.
I have to say, and maybe we'll get to it in villain, but there's some great moments, but I don't. Maybe it's not as modulated in this one. Because I think he sounds better in some of the, first two. You know what I mean? Like that line you said to start us off, right? From the first one.
The box, we opened it, you came.
Yeah, exactly.
You opened it, we came.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. I just think it sounds a little bit better.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So what was your overall impressions, Tim, of Hellraiser 3? Let's just go off the bat, just real general brief.
You just want to know.
I do.
I'm kind of surprised because I think I ended up liking it more than I was thinking.
Yeah! Yes! Yes!
Welcome. Some like Jim Carrey vibes in Ace Ventura there.
I am so excited. I was sure you're going to be angry at me when you finish watching this.
No, don't get me wrong. It's not amazing by any stretch.
No.
But I currently, I'm not going to give you my official thing, but I have it at like around in the top 5 currently.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're definitely going to have different scores in this. But because I'm definitely higher on this movie. It's funny. I definitely have this as like the 3rd ranked Hellraiser movie. But I goddamn, I do love it. It's so much fun because Doug Bradley gets to eat in this movie.
It's weird because it's when I looked at Rotten Tomatoes, which I know is kind of ridiculous and bad.
Sure is.
But I thought it was interesting that it is scored higher 3 than 2.
Well, that's no.
Yeah, and I'm like, I was looking at some of it. I think like 2. It seemed to lose a lot of people being in the the other dimension, the other side, and the hell dimension or whatever. Like, I think it just kind of lost too many people there.
Oh,
so I think, yeah, I know, because I'm like, 2 is actually my favorite.
2 is probably my favorite as well. It probably would go 2, 1, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Although I've not seen 4, but yeah,
trust me.
But I believe because you said to me that they all go direct to video after 3, right?
After 4.
Oh, after 4. Okay.
4 is the last one in theaters.
And that was 96, right?
Or
something like that.
The year,
okay.
But yeah, it sounds sure.
I was trying to.
Hellraiser Bloodline. Hellraiser goes to space before any of them.
Oh man! Wow.
Yeah, it's a fascinating movie. It's like this show. This is my second or third time seeing Hellraiser 3, and I have seen the flaws so much clearer than ever before in this movie. But my love has grown deeper at the same time.
You can appreciate it more for
the stuff
positives.
I don't like really doesn't work. The stuff that works, I love so much. This franchise is so unique to horror.
Yeah.
It's not a slasher, really. It's not a haunted house movie. It's not, it's something else. These are demons who come, who think they're helping you out. They think that pain is the same as pleasure. So when they're ripping off your skin, they think that's pleasurable. Like, we're just here to help, bro. It's fun stuff. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really,
it's this weird, distorted take on BDSM. which is not a
Yeah.
kink I have, but I still
Not
find
at all,
it endlessly
no.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's like almost what you would imagine, like this is what if hell really came, this is the kind of messed up stuff that they would put you through type of stuff.
Sure, yeah,
And it's
I guess.
I guess it's messed up, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, when does Itchy the Killer come out?
I have
You remember?
No, I don't.
Did you ever see that movie?
I don't think I did, actually.
Okay, because it's another one that kind of messed up, and I'm curious if it's
2001.
Okay, I'm curious if that movie had any influence.
Not on Hellraiser, but
Well, no, I mean like it was influenced by the Hellraiser movies, is what I'm kind of getting at. Because there's like people hanging from chains and stuff like that in it, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, no, I never saw it. That's from the same director as Audition.
Okay, I have to revisit it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't think I've ever. Japanese horror is so hit or miss for me.
Yeah,
Sometimes you'll get something like Audition. I'm like, oh hell yes, and then sometimes you'll get Ringu, and I'm like, oh hell no, absolutely not. I can't
like
do that.
one.
I hate. I don't like The Ring.
Neither do I.
Or The Ring 2, and I didn't bother to see Rings.
Didn't see Ring 2.
They were improvements over Ringu, which I was like, get the hell out of here with this. This is terrible.
I remember not being the person for The Ring when like I saw it in the movie theater, and there's that part where the horse bucks crazy on the ship and just jumps off and like hits the side and then goes off, and I start cackling laughing in the movie theater. I thought it was so funny, and everybody else is like sucked in, and this is the scariest thing, and here I am laughing and everybody looking at me. So I was like, okay, maybe we're on different wavelengths with this movie. I don't belong here.
I don't know. If I'm going to watch a horror movie, I'd rather watch the Koreans or the Italians. The Japanese just bounce off me most of the time. Sometimes it works, but this one, no, it's not so much.
I didn't dig The Grudge either. Was that also Japanese? Yeah, I didn't dig that one either.
I never saw the Japanese original or the American
I think that was one that I'd say, yeah, it was a little bit better. But maybe I'm just a sucker for Sarah Michelle Gellar, so I don't know.
It's possible. Sounds likely.
So this is my pick, yes?
This is your pick. That's right, it is.
I chose this. I did this. All right, so I guess I don't need to go into the other ones, but anyway, there is this box, and if you open said box, it opens a dimension to a hell dimension kind of a deal. And so basically, somebody, JP, uncovers a piece of art that has this box, and it unleashes hell. But the problem this time is you're having a hell demon that's no longer bind to hell's laws. So he is really going to town, and we got to figure out how to put him back in the box. Boom, movie.
Bravo, Tim. That's
Thank you.
Outstanding. I love it. Great work, John.
Flexing over here.
I'm proud of you.
Come a long way.
Sure have. Yeah. All right. So, our hero.
Ugh.
That is the correct noise.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so don't get me wrong, because there are times, and it's really the latter half of the movie,
Correct,
where they do have her deliver some lines, and she delivers them really well. But you have to get through a lot of awful to get to these few times where she delivers a nice line.
Okay. So, Terry Farrell is a very attractive woman. Very attractive woman.
Yeah.
And she has done very good work on Star Trek Deep Space Nine as I forget which Dax she was. She was Dax. She was
Sure.
Jadzia Dax. Sorry.
I never messed with the Star Trek shows. I like the movies. I never went show.
Fair enough.
So I have no idea.
That's what she did after this. She got to be on Star Trek for like 6 years.
I guess that's better than a soap. So good for you.
So I know she's not bad at acting. So this is really just, it's not a well-written part at all.
Yeah.
Basically, this character exists only to move plot along.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. There's no there, with this whole thing.
Yeah.
So you just like,
for whatever reason, she is determined to uncover the story, and you don't really know why. Because she needs to be taken seriously. I guess that's kind of what it is, but that's about it.
Yeah, her characterization in this movie is thinner than I.
They try to bring up this like, I'm traumatized that my dad died before I was even freaking born thing, which was kind of weak, and the I guess the only reason that is in the movie is for her to get tricked at the very end of the movie. Otherwise, that's it.
Yeah, and it's not the movie they originally intended to make.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they have a new director in this one.
Okay.
It was originally supposed to be directed by the guy who directed the second movie, Tony Randall.
Okay.
And Peter Atkins and Tony Randall wrote and directed the second movie, and they wrote the third movie, intending to direct this one as well. But the original producers of the Hellraiser franchise went bankrupt, and it got bought up by new people who got the distribution through Miramax. They didn't trust Tony Randall. They didn't like his bleak original script. So they had Peter Atkins, the co-writer, rewrite the thing, and they hired a new director, Tony Wilcox, who had done the Waxwork movies.
Okay.
Which were horror comedies. Which Clive Barker was like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, you're kind of missing everything.
Yeah, and like he had to have like a conversation with Tony Wilcox and everything like that, and Tony Wilcox had to assure him like, yeah, I'm not going to make this silly. Don't worry, it's not my intent. But they had to rewrite some things.
Yeah,
they had to, because originally this movie was going to end with everything was basically the same. The CD head Cenobite wasn't there. The Barbman Cenobite wasn't there.
Can't wait to talk about that one.
Thank God I love them both. I'm glad they're here. And the ending was going to be her getting up on, Pinhead, but then him brokering a deal where she becomes his bride in exchange for career success, which would have made sense with the character they're setting up in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
This ambition that she has, but they kind of just...
It goes away, pretty much.
It totally goes away and just becomes a soft,
you don't hear about it
blah
again
character.
After that kind of intro thing. Like, basically almost right after you meet her, or maybe a little bit after the other thing. Yeah, I guess it's when he's talking to the editor dude or something. That was like the last time it's brought up.
Yeah, basically after that guy tells her, you got to show more skin if you want to get further in the game. She's like, I want to do it the right way.
Every time there's a scene with the editor dude or the camera guy,
yeah,
it is real bad dialogue and acting. Like, everybody's doing a horrifically bad job. And cameraman guy who ends up becoming a Cenobite later is particularly awful.
I think he was a friend of one of the producers, Ken Carpenter.
Yeah, because he doesn't act again. Like, I was looking, I'm like, who has this guy done anything else? Because this is rough.
They liked his look.
Ugh.
So I'll give it to him. He looked like a guy who could be holding a camera professionally.
Yeah, being behind the camera, sure.
Anyway, we should
it's
probably
bizarre.
Get more details. Yeah. Our hero is Joey Summerskill.
Oh, that's the last name? What a weird last name. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It seems like something like an Englishman would write for an American.
Right.
She's a television reporter, and she's frustrated she hasn't gotten her big break yet.
Yeah.
And the movie opens as she is sent to a hospital ER to cover a typical night, but nothing actually happens.
Yeah.
And her cameraman gets called away, and she witnesses an event that we'll go into later. And she's desperate to find an explanation for, hoping it might be the story she's been waiting to give her this big break.
Yeah, and her only lead is this one girl who brought this person in.
Yeah.
But runs away. So she's got to find this girl. And boy, does she make herself known to everybody to find out where this girl is.
Yeah. So Joey is still at work to get ahead. She needs to start dressing more provocatively and shows more skin, but she wants to do it the right way and be a real reporter. So she goes to the club she heard about during the event from that girl that you mentioned. And it is the most ridiculous club of all time.
Oh, yeah. How many different parts and sections of this club? It's insane.
At least 3. So
the
it's
size and scope.
Yeah, it's the mass. Considering this movie is supposed to be set in New York City.
Yeah.
So the size of this club is just beyond hilarious.
Yeah, it's insane. And at one point, right, she goes into this club, and it's one type of atmosphere,
like a dance goth club.
Yeah, she's pointed to that she needs to go to this other section, and then it's like a different kind of club,
a heavy metal dance club.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's weird, and then it's like, oh no, he's at the restaurant, or whatever. And then all of a sudden she's in a fine dining restaurant
with like violins playing and everything.
Yeah, completely different atmosphere. It's like, what is happening?
And like considering the size of this real estate in New York, this club will be worth like $1 billion. It's just like, get the hell out of here.
It is so laughable. I mean, we have to talk about it. Why not now, right? So this is filmed where the area which we currently live in, and it's doubling as New York City. And at the first shot of it is like clearly like Greensboro, and with storefronts you've probably seen 1,000 times in Winston too. And you see this horrible. It looks like Dick Tracy, but done for real. You know, Dick Tracy had a style of the aesthetic.
The matte background. Thing. Yeah,
right. It's like, oh my gosh, this looks awful.
Wait, it gets better. So the very first scene in this movie, we see the club owner JP going into an art gallery or whatever.
Yeah.
And as he's driving up, we see the skyline like you mentioned, and we see the side of the building, the art building he's going into, and it says Dixie on the side of the building. I promise you're never seeing a building anywhere in New York City that says Dixie anywhere near it.
No chance. It looks like too, like a lot of like that street still looks like that, and I think Pyramid whatever is still on it, on the glass.
Yeah, I think that looks like something either in Greensboro or High Point. Yeah, it's
Greensboro. I
the art gallery. Okay.
Oh yeah, the art gallery is Greensboro. I totally got mixed up the ending sequence at first. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Winston, because I saw the sign that says East Market Street. But then I looked into it and I was like, oh, I didn't realize there's a Market Street in Greensboro as well.
Yeah,
so that's
the Winston
Greensboro.
scene was at the construction site.
Yeah, which is Wake Forest, which I was like, oh my gosh, Wake Forest University. Who would have known?
Go Deeks.
And I guess the field for a lot of the war stuff and explosions was a field somewhere near Winston too.
Oh really? Okay, I didn't catch that part.
It didn't give it. It said field near Winston is all it said.
Okay, I think the club was all in like an X factory in High Point, probably like an X furniture factory.
Yeah.
But
there's a YouTube video of a guy going around mostly Greensboro and kind of showing this is where they did this one and this is where they did this.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, not New York at all. That's really funny.
So she asks around this club, see if anyone's seen a pretty girl with dark hair.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what a description.
Oh my God, yeah.
And like
she's like yay high, dark hair, pretty.
And like at least the only one who calls her out as a DJ is like, that's not helping.
Yeah. Because it's like almost everybody in this club is dressed like this. It looks like this.
Yeah. Somehow she gets the tip that she may be talking about the club owner's girlfriend. She goes to talk to the club owner, JP, and he tries hitting on her, and she says she's probably too old for him. Oh, burn.
Yeah, but it was... you're almost giving too much credit to how bad the line was too, because it was like some kind of like juvenile comment. I gotta look it up now. I know. It was so bad.
Okay, well,
you keep talking.
I'm out of grade school or something, but all right.
Yeah. I'm out of grade school. I'm not your type. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's so bad.
So, Joey apparently has regular nightmares of her watching her dad getting killed and left behind in Vietnam.
Right.
Turns out she never knew him. It's weird too. She's wearing this bizarre nightgown with like this giant, it's like this white nightgown that sort of pushes up her tits, but then she has like this giant like white bow. I don't know what they're trying to do with this nightgown.
I don't know, but they mostly that's probably the most provocative she ever looks in the entire movie. She's very clothed.
Yeah, whoever decided to dress her in this movie, the costume designer for her, should be brought up on war crimes. It is bizarre, like how like matronly she looks throughout like the whole movie.
She looks like she should be doing some gospel at times or something.
Yeah, I mean this woman is like 28 years old, and you're making her look like she's dressing like she's 54. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely a weird time.
And this nightgown is like you said, it's like the most provocative thing she wears, but it's also infantilizing. So I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bounce around because, like I said, there's not much going on with her.
It's not much, yeah. Because then you have to start talking about
I don't want to just repeat plot.
Right, and
so,
you're going to talk about the girl that she ends up finding, because there's a lot of scenes between the two of them.
Yeah, and she's infinitely more interesting.
Yeah.
So eventually these nightmares get intercepted by Captain Elliot Spencer, Pinhead's human soul that got split from Pinhead in the second movie.
Yeah,
And
which I didn't realize it was. I guess you kind of figure that out later. I didn't realize it was a split, but okay.
yeah, well, he gives her a straight up rundown of the first two movies.
He is exposition every time he comes in.
Yeah, him and a videotape that she finds later on of Kiersey from the first two movies explaining the plot. It's like breaking it all down. Like, oh, here's what you need to know. Like, cool.
I know. Man, there was like a point too where like it gets explained to her, like, and Kiersey's like, it just wants to be open, and then it like cuts to the other girl in the apartment in the box. I'm like, oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Oh, nothing happens. Oh, it was like a big letdown moment.
Well, it's funny because like every time someone opens the lament configuration in any of these movies, it opens the door to hell.
Right.
But in this movie, the hell is already on Earth. Hence the title, Hell on Earth.
Right.
So like the opening the box actually would bring Pinhead back to hell.
Right. It binds him back to hell and hell's laws and such.
Yeah. So
it becomes really the concluding thing to do.
It's very much like a little twist on the movie.
Yeah.
So Joey gets a call from Terry, the girl she's been looking for, and promises to tell her everything she knows if she gives her a place to stay for the night. And Joey says yes, which is fucking wild. Like,
yeah,
I don't know you. You want to stay here?
And
why didn't you give her a hotel room?
Is very giving right away, because like throughout the whole movie, she's like, yeah, stay here. Stay however long you want. It's like, what's... And like, clearly must have been giving her clothes or something, because at some point she wakes up the next day and she's wearing a dude's dress shirt. It's like, what is going on here? Did something happen? This is very like not talked about. It's like, why is it her? Is it hers dress shirt? Whose dress shirt is this?
I'm assuming it might have been one of JP's. I don't know.
But it's such, I don't know. Yeah, bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure JP, by the way he dresses, was not wearing that dress shirt. It was way too plain for JP.
It's a fair point. Fair point.
I will love to talk about JP's attire later.
Yeah. The red cowboy boots.
Yeah. And the pants. I can't wait.
After doing some investigating with Terry, Joey offers to let her stay there as long as she'd like. She's known her for like less than 24 hours when this happens.
Yeah.
Like, so we are setting up that Joey is extremely dumb and gullible, which is helpful later on in the movie.
Yeah. And like,
that's what we
she's
love for our
supposed
hero.
to do some uncovering, and she kind of basically just uncovers some backstory that is not important or essential to the story of this movie at all.
So I'm gonna...
Was any of that needed?
No. I'm just gonna
where the thing came from, how it got to the store, like none of that was necessary. It was total pointless.
There was like no reason whatsoever to even mention the first two movies. They could have just called it Hellraiser Hell on Earth instead of Hellraiser 3 to like pretend like it's not a sequel. You could have cut so much of that out, but that was not in vogue at the time. So I'm just going to fast forward to like some of my favorite Joey moments. So Joey runs into a church and screams about demons chasing her. And a priest tells her there's no such thing. And Pinhead...
It's just me, or was that priest that actually came off at first creepy?
Well, let me ask you a question, Tim. We grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
Has a priest ever approached you and called you my child in your entire life, even when you were a child?
No.
Yeah.
Also, like, the way he was smiling at her constantly, like, and just this creepy look, I was like, oh, is this going to be Pinhead messing with her or something? That's what I thought it was going to be at first.
Would have been far more interesting, but, you know, that's an adult woman. That would have been a giveaway that
yeah.
If the priest is actually interested in her.
Oh.
So, like I said, Joey runs into the church.
They might be opening that up, by the way. Did you hear about that? They're talking about opening deacon positions up to women.
Exciting stuff.
It's pretty big for the Catholic Church. They move at snail's paces. I mean,
certainly do. So, like I said, Joey runs into the church, screams about demons chasing her. A priest tries to tell her that there's no such thing as demons.
Yeah,
Pinhead
metaphors.
Pinhead enters the church. Joey turns around and deadpans. Then what the fuck is that? And I'm like, yeah, here we go.
That's one of the great delivery lines.
She's really good in that movie.
Every time she delivers a line to Pinhead, she kills it. She nails it. Mm-hmm. But then almost everything else is awful.
It's just the way the character is written. It really is. It's just not good.
Okay. I mean, I only know her from this. So maybe you obviously from, I guess she was good in Deep Space Nine. But.
She was one of the best characters in Deep Space Nine. It was a real bummer when she left the show.
Yeah, because it's not showing much in this. But that's what kind of threw me, because, again, it's like almost all at the end. Because the whole ending part of this movie is just action. It
really is. It's why I have to bounce around so much.
And so all of a sudden at the end, where she's just throwing these zingers at Pinhead, you're like, where was this the whole movie?
Yeah, all of a sudden she has, like, I don't know. She's just finally being proactive about everything. It's like, oh, yeah, here we go. But yeah, Joey opens the box eventually and says, "Play with this, Pinhead." Yeah. And the box sucks all the Cenobites to hell, and this marks the first time anyone in the franchise has called Pinhead. Yeah. So good for you, Joey.
Yeah. Finally did it.
Yeah. And yet Joey is then in limbo, and her dad appears saying he doesn't know why he's here, but he's been told she has something for him. And Joey's like, "Oh, I know what it is. It's a reward," and gives him the box, and it's like,
yeah,
you fucking
mile away.
It's like, Captain Elliot Spencer warned you that the only way he could get the box is if you gave it to him, and you just fell for it. But it's okay, I guess, since we have established that she is a gullible moron.
Yes.
So yeah, Dad is actually Pinhead, and she's like, "Oh, you cheater! You looked into my mind." And it's like, yeah,
yep. You were warned.
Grow up. Yeah. Anyway, after escaping hell, Joey is back on Earth and drops the lament configuration into some wet cement, which construction crews are known to lying around overnight all the time.
Yeah. Not that wet, at least.
No. Time passes, and the building built over the side is decorated to look like the puzzle box from inside. Bum, bum, bum.
Which, by the way, I believe that was Charlotte.
Yes, on Tryon Street, a bank, one of the banks. Yeah.
Which would have been interesting, because they try to go with a lot of, like, the building clearly has a similar aesthetic.
Yeah, which does play into Hellraiser 4.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Oh, yeah. This thread gets picked up in Hellraiser 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's all I got to say about Joey, because it's not.
That's about it. Yeah, I agree.
I gave her a 1.5.
Wow. You went lower than me.
Really? What'd you go 2?
I went 2. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, it really is, because I really did enjoy. I probably gave a full point higher, or a half.
What
point
the fuck
higher.
Is that?
Yeah, it just the lines that she throws at Pinhead, I think, are great. So I thought there was something there, but it's kind of hard, because, like, again, yeah, she was terrible.
I don't think she's a bad actress in this movie. I think that the character is terrible, and like she's just so little to do. So I'm giving you the half point, because, like, you're not annoying, but man, there's just nothing there.
I could leave the character very quickly too.
Yeah.
I could depending on the final score, I could easily come down here. But
okay.
But we'll see what we do in the other categories, because you're probably going to go higher in these other categories.
Oh, you better believe it.
Oh, no.
Oh, you better believe it.
Yeah. So
villain. Pinhead.
I also put JP in this category, because he's kind of a villain for a portion of it.
Sure.
Okay. For most of the movie, he's a villain.
All right. Yeah. So after the events of the last movie, Pinhead has been split from his original human soul and is now free from the rules of hell, but he's also stuck as a face in a statue.
Which looks awful.
You know what? I think most of the time it looks fine. It's still he talks that looks like something out of like he looks like an Alice in Wonderland TV special when he's talking out of the thing. You're like, oh, that's weird.
Which is a decent amount, but yeah, like as that's happening, as he's like slowly being freed from it or whatever.
But
it looks awful.
Some of the best. It looks not great, no doubt. But he also delivers some of my favorite lines while he's stuck as a face in the statue too. So
yeah,
because he has to just be like, charming and coercive as he's doing it. Because he's stuck. And I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, like, how close do you have to get to that thing? Jeez, like, because there's like, at one point I'm like, why isn't he taking this person at this point? It looks pretty close. And then like, oh, he needs to be moved closer. And then you get this like long process of this character moving the person closer, and it takes way too long for this to happen.
We'll get into that, yeah. So, after the events, besides Chain Boy from the beginning of the movie, the first bit of evil Pinhead does is seemingly make the pseudo kinky sex JP has with a club goer more pleasurable. Diabolical!
Is that what happens?
Yeah. So that whole sex scene is like he's tied up. He's like he's put her arms behind her and tied her up or whatever. That's
right.
That's as kinky as it gets. So he's plowing her, but he's like having the best sex of his life, and the way the movie is setting it up, it's because the statue is in the room with him. He's like, oh.
Well, yeah, they do shoot it like it's in the background, but I thought it was like a lurking thing. I didn't know it was actually doing anything because it's kind of far away for what Pinhead apparently can and cannot do in that statue.
I don't know. Maybe he can release pheromones further than hell chains. I don't know. He seems to be having like a better time than usual. At least
he
that's
does have a weird Jesus on a cross / I'm the king of the world moment to climax, which I thought was really ridiculous.
So eventually Pinhead reveals himself after a bit of action, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
To JP. He reveals himself to JP, and JP yells, Jesus Christ! Not quite.
Yeah.
That's his first bit of lines in the movie, like, oh, hell yeah.
You probably enjoyed it because, again, it looked so freaking awful that I had a hard time. Like, I guess some of these lines should deliver better, but he looks terrible.
Well, I'll tell you, Doug Bradley did not have a good time as the statue because it was like so restricting, and all he could do was like, stick out his face. In fact, they changed the makeup for Pinhead entirely when he was even out of the statue, so to make it easier to get on and off since he has so many scenes as a human. And they were shooting like long hours, and they wanted to get it all down.
I honestly didn't think the makeup on Pinhead looked as good in this movie as it did in the first two.
Yeah, he said it was easier to get on and off, but it was also more uncomfortable. But the only thing that was good was that he found someone who could make the black eye lenses for his contacts not as painful, so he could wear them longer. But anyway, so as he starts like putting the schmooze on JP, and he tells him, there is no good, there is no evil. There is only flesh and the patterns to which we submit it. Love it.
Yeah.
But JP doesn't care for Pinhead's pitch and threatens him with a gun. And that's what Pinhead points out. That's the same gun you used to kill your parents to get his inheritance. And JP like shoots Pinhead, and Pinhead just spits out the bullets.
It is a nice line to explain how, because JP is incredibly young. To have this establishment in New York City as well. So it's
this
like
$1 billion property in New York City.
Yeah, I appreciate this line. I like it.
Yeah. So Pinhead's pitch to JP is if he helps him out with more bodies blood, which is fun considering this is the sort of same scenario as the first movie.
Yeah.
As this, I forget her name, Julia and Frank.
Right.
So Pinhead's pitch to JP is if he helps him out with more bodies blood, he can sit at his right side. Flesh, power, dominion.
Yeah, I remember the dominion line. Yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
And he's convinced. He's not happy about it, but he seems convinced.
He's intrigued.
He's intrigued, but he seems very unsure of it. Are we going to talk about JP at all here in the villain category? Or is it just me that put him there? Where'd you put him in? Sidekick? Or in action? You just left him in action?
I didn't have a ton. I kind of just more glanced upon him on action, but yeah, you want to go into JP? Let's go to JP.
Okay, yes. Please let us talk about JP. Okay, so JP, we first see him showing up to this gallery. He's like the first thing you see in the movie with this horrible shot of the New York skyline type of thing.
Such as it is, yeah.
Yeah, such as it is. So I have no idea how we found this gallery.
Oh, we know because Terry found it. Terry found all of his art, and that's how she knows where the art gallery is. Terry told him about it, and that's why
I
he
must
goes
have missed
there.
that part. I must have missed that part. But it's interesting because even how she found it, right? Because like you find out later from like a random dude walking the street who lives in the neighborhood is like, yeah, this place is like a dump. It's never opened at all. Like it's just basically a tax shelter. That's all.
It's been
is.
closed
like,
for months. The owner is in Hawaii.
Yeah. So it's like this weird thing. But anyway, so he like goes in, he's able to go into this thing in the middle of the night, it looks like, and nobody's around, and he comes across the obelisk type of thing, right? And he's like, yeah, I'll buy it. And like
Pillar of Souls.
yeah, this homeless owner looking dude is like, yeah, sure. How much ever you think it's worth, give it to me. Because you find out he's like, I guess he's buying whatever from closed down places, including mental institutions, hence the connection or whatever to the second one. But like the outfit that JP is wearing is, so he's got these cowboy boots with the red cowboy boots. Yeah, red cowboy boots with like metal, like what are parts to it in the front, like steel-toed metal type of stuff.
Right.
He's got striped pants on. Like it's close to freaking Beetlejuice.
I think they're checkered, but yeah.
Pretty positive they're striped because I was fascinated by this.
Okay.
Yeah. It is the closest thing possible to a Hawaiian red shirt on top of this. And like a brown leather jacket, a dark brown leather jacket too, as well. And it is the most like insane freaking outfit. I was obsessed with it. I couldn't like, that's why I was like, no, it was striped, because it was like, it's basically Beetlejuice went Hawaiian, but not like the blacks and the whites are a little toned down. It's insane. And they bring a lot of focus to the different parts of his outfit. So it was shocking to me.
The camera stays on him for a while.
Yeah, it really does. Because at first, like, I'm thinking this is the main character. This must be the reporter, because I read something about a reporter. Like, I didn't know, right? So I'm like, and then like, oh, where is this person? So I was kind of shocked later on when the person comes into the ER. I was like, oh, that must be him. And it wasn't, because you don't get to see the guy's face. It's just a dark-haired face. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know. But, so, and then later on, you come back to him and he's too cool for school, and he's got this motive, or not, he just sleeps around, but he's clearly bored by everything. So as soon as he gets his fill, get out of here. And he's got everybody keeping roses for him in ice boxes to give ladies, and apparently most ladies love it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, this is another like a riff on the Frank character from the first movie. He's only interested in pleasure, and that of course always gets turned on your head if you are. That's all you're interested in.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, so JP is, he uses people. That's kind of his thing. He's definitely a user to get his own ends and his own means. Mm-hmm. And he's really awful to people. So you kind of see in multiple scenes how he's a horrible person.
Yeah, no, he's garbage.
Yeah. Anyway, but which was interesting scene when Pinhead comes, alive to him, because he's very like, this is the most horrific thing ever. Like
something happens that is pretty messed up, which we'll get into in action. But yeah,
yeah, but I guess I'm just getting to the characterization part of it. Like it's not. He does not seem like he look like he took more convincing from Pinhead than Terry does later.
Yeah,
which I just thought was interesting. But anyway, carry on.
Okay. I'm gonna fast forward through stuff just because
action stuff.
Yeah, a lot of this becomes action.
It's a lot of action in this movie.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so much later on, there's a confrontation between Joey. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second. Joey and Pinhead in the club, and Pinhead's like, "Oh, it's unbearable, isn't it? The suffering of strangers." The agony of friends. I love this stuff. And then maybe my favorite bit of dialogue for him in this movie: "Don't debate with me, girl. Just come here and die while you still have the option of doing it quickly." I
do like that one. But I love
Pinhead.
There are some times too, though, I wish they took better shots or camera angles of it too, because he looks too small at times and not that menacing.
I don't know. Doug Bradley has always looked like I don't want to go anywhere near that guy.
Well, yeah,
I'm
with
not
I
sure
goes
how
with the
tall he
makeup and
is.
such, but he just doesn't
He's
look
5'11".
he just never looks that intimidating, I feel at times. And I feel like, and I don't think it's necessarily him, I think it's the way he's shot sometimes in this movie, because it's not the case in other movies.
Well, you know what? I think Terry Farrell is actually a very tall woman because she was a former model. So that probably made things more difficult. Yeah, she's actually a little same size or a little taller than him by like.
But I don't even
3/4 of
think
an
it's necessarily the two of them next to each other. I just think like sometimes they take these really big wide shots of him with these monstrous sets around him, so he doesn't look very big.
Yeah, and the camera is like maybe 6 inches above him.
Right.
So you're right. You're not wrong. Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like they did a much better job of making him look way more freaking menacing.
Because
in the
everything
first two
in the first two
movies.
movies is all low angle shots. You're
Yeah,
not wrong.
and
actually.
very
Yeah.
like tight in and stuff like that, and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And intense in the voice modulation and the way he's speaking. And I think this one, it's way more pulled back. Again, waste too much space, and he seems to be sauntering more and playful, which is fun, but at the same time, I think it actually toned down how intimidating he should be. So that was my drawbacks to it.
Okay. So Pinhead creates a new army of Cenobite friends.
Yeah, quick, which I mean, it's interesting.
First, you got Doc, Joey's cameraman. He gets transformed into like camera eye Cenobite.
Yeah.
He can make explosions with his camera eye or shove it through a dude's head like a xenomorph.
Yeah. How quickly did the Doctor in 2? He became a Cenobite pretty quickly, didn't he?
Yeah, via Julia. Yeah, that was her fault.
Okay. I'm just curious because like it almost seemed like in the remake one they made it more of like a process you had to go through or something. So I don't know if there's a change in the remake one. I don't know because that was like the dude's thing that he gets at the end of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
And then you got the club DJ, which, by the way, was like the guy playing the DJ was a pizza delivery guy and UNCG student.
That's great.
Who just showed up one day and they're like, yeah, this will work.
You like your look?
Yeah, he got paid like $400.
That's cool.
And they
he had some screen time too.
And I know it's a while. They only got $400. He's in the movie. They put trading cards and everything out there. He didn't see anything for that movie, but
wow.
He still works in like Charlotte as some kind of like sound engineer guy. So anyway, he gets transformed into CD head Cenobite. Maybe my favorite Cenobite in the entire franchise. No, not maybe. Definitely my favorite Cenobite in the entire franchise. He ejects CDs from his chest and throws them at victims.
Yeah, he's like a weird Cenobite version of Gambit.
And he has the funniest damn look on his face. It's like, I'm not sure what they did to his mouth, but it's like they zipper into like this like nonplussed look on his face the whole time. It cracks me up every time I see it.
He also makes robot noises as he moves.
It's so funny.
And it sounds like something that Winslow from Police Academy would do.
Yes! Yes. It is the most 90s Cenobite. And I adore him.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty horrific.
No, it's awesome. And then you got the bartender. Cenobite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you talked to me about the CD one previously. You were excited about the CD one, and I'm watching this movie. I'm like, I the hell with the CD guy. What is going on with this bartender? Because this is insane.
Well, this is funny.
At one point, I'm like, why does he have a shaker? What is he walking around with a shaker for?
Well, this is a character played by the writer Peter Atkins.
Oh my gosh! Per requests, please let me be the Cenobite.
No, it was more like they were scared to have Tony Wilcox on set by himself guiding the Hellraiser. Yeah. So they wanted somebody who had been like with the franchise for the entire time. So they wanted to keep the screenwriter on set, but they're like, we can't afford you to have you there the whole time.
Oh,
So
wow.
the only way we could have you for it was you're going to have to play a part. So they had him play this bartender.
Wow.
And the makeup they put on him, it's like they put like a baby's head on him, but like covered in like barbed wire. And like you said, he's holding
It's the
his
most
mixer
unrecognizable Cenobite to like the actual person earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Because that's fascinating. Because to me, I thought it was it was like, is this a completely different person playing the Cenobite version? Because
No,
it's weird.
It's Peter Atkins in the suit.
Yeah.
That same guy who was playing the bartender before that like had the flaming drink.
Because he also makes him bigger and all. Like he just it
a
looks
lot
so
of rubber.
different. Yeah. He's like, fine, I'll do it, but make me completely unrecognizable.
I'm sure it helped. Anyway, so yeah, he can like spit fire, and he has like the shaker mixer, which he is filled with gasoline, which he can throw at cops and light them on fire.
Blow
later.
stuff up. Yeah.
Beautiful collection of Cenobites. Just honestly, just so perfectly 90s.
Yeah,
I love it. I love
and
it so.
JP and Terry also turn into Cenobites.
Yeah, I was gonna get
as
to them in
well.
a minute, but
Yeah.
so like there's that scene like we mentioned before. Priest holds up a crucifix to Pinhead when he meets him, like
Yeah.
he's a vampire, and Pinhead says, "Thou shalt not bow down before any graven image," and then he melts the crucifix onto the priest's hand,
Yeah.
and it just like it becomes like this like melted metal fist.
Which I have to say, there's some bad effects, but that one wasn't bad.
Yeah, and then Pinhead goes to the church's altar just to like he's like strutting at this point.
Oh yeah. He's just putting on a show.
Yeah, he takes pins out of his head and stigmatas himself and says, "I am the way."
Breaks all the stained glass.
Yeah, the stained glass mirrors explode, and he's like, "Ha ha 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 ha." It's so great.
I feel like that was kind of like the big calling card for this movie. I feel like that was like a big moment.
That was a big moment in the trailer for sure.
Yeah.
And then he like goes up to the priest and forces him to eat his flesh. He's like, "This is my body. This is my flesh.
Yeah.
Those who sup from it, some great happiness, whatever." And then he quits screwing with him the moment he realizes that Joey's opened the box. Like, "Oh shit."
There's a couple of moments of that where like, oh, I'm getting too caught up with all the fun I'm having.
It's ruining my fun. So then Joey runs away to a construction site from the church, like I said, filmed at Wake Forest University.
Yeah.
And runs into Cenobite
Oh,
JP,
Deeks.
who has like a couple of pistons running through his head.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It is.
And Cenobite Terry, and they talk trash and beat on her a little. They're not there long enough. It's really kind of a bummer.
It is really short lived, but I guess we'll get that in
And
action.
that's all I want to talk about in this part of the category. I gave it a 4, villain. I love it.
Yeah, I went 3.
Okay.
I went 3. I agree. There's just some iconic Pinhead stuff.
They just really let Doug Bradley eat in this movie, and it's great.
And I mean, he's
Especially the first two movies. Like, your biggest complaint with the first movie, when you saw it for the first time, was like,
yeah.
there was
Where's
no
Pinhead? Yeah, he's barely
You thought he
in
was the
it.
iconic character. And this is the first movie in the franchise that just lets
Where
him
he
go
really
nuts.
is. Yeah, he really just gets to go and eat. You're right. You're totally right, and that's why
And
I gave it a 3.
And it's the best part of the movie, and he's so good.
It is. He's iconic. There's just man, until he's released. I hate everything in the statue.
No.
I thought it just looked so bad. It just distracted me from everything. And then again, as much as I thought he was great, it was like the voicing's a bit off, the way he shot's a bit off. It's like, man, if they could have only just did this but recapture some of the stuff from 2 and 1, it just bugged me. And that's what made me detract it probably from a 4 to a 3.
That's why he's not a 5 for me.
Fair enough. We'll see final score, but yeah, I went 3.
Okay. So, action. So, a dude is brought into the ER at the beginning of the movie, we can mention.
Yeah.
He's on a gurney with hell chains attached and dragging behind his body.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've seen the hell chains this far away from, like,
I know, like,
box
how
or
are they
anything
still
else?
there? And they still
It's weird.
can, like, make some damage because the weird thing is, too, because, like, nobody can see what's going on. Like there's a lot of like you're getting tortured by something that no one else is seeing type of stuff, but somehow they can see the chains. So it's a really weird cake and eating it too situation that doesn't make sense.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I was wondering too because she gets cut by one.
Yeah, I was
going to
say one of the chains barely touches Joey and cuts her ankle, and it looks like this will play an important part later. Nope.
My only thinking, right, and I have to do my own galaxy brain stuff.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, but my only thinking is this the reasoning on why and how she can commune with the captain later in the movie? Because otherwise it makes no sense, that connection at all.
Good as excuse as any, I guess.
But you admit the connection with the captain later with the good pinhead, whatever, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's just like exposition dump. Like we need someone.
Yeah,
to
but like,
the rules
how is she able to commune? What is the
doesn't.
rules? It doesn't. None of it makes sense. So that's kind of how I was like, okay, maybe that. I don't know.
Captain Elliot Spencer doing his rebel radio. I got to break through from limbo.
Yeah.
Kirsty's telling the truth. Kirsty's telling the truth. And I'm out. Cool. So when they get the guy in the OR, the hell chains come alive and electrocute and pull him apart, causing him to explode.
Yeah, I think it's only his head that explodes.
You might be right, but it's like, well, that's very aggressively on Earth that everyone can see. I don't know.
Yeah, and everybody's horrified, but I guess it's kind of like, well, none of us can explain what we just saw, so I guess we won't say anything. I don't know.
Everyone goes about their lives except for Joey, which is like, okay.
Can we slightly backtrack and talk about that nurse?
It's like setting up something in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie where like,
right,
it's supposed to be a dream sequence, like something bad's going to happen.
She's pulling out the most horrific tools possible, one by one, and they make like they're having this horrible dialogue as usual with the cameraman, and it's really bad. But then they would break from it to show the nurse, which you won't ever see her face during this sequence, pulling out a tool one at a time. So at first it's like, okay, is this going to be a Cenobite like getting the person now or something? I don't know, right? Like Cenobite with a wig, that would have been hilarious. I don't know. But it was terrible, but it led to nowhere. Like it was just, break, done. That was it. It was like, why? What was the setup of setting up the tools? What was that?
I really don't know.
It was bad. I thought the paper mache head explode was okay, although it was
I like that. But you're right about the nurse. I thought it was going to be like revealed to be Lin Shaye or something like that.
Yeah, it was stupid
because it's a Dimension film.
And the electricity looks really stupid.
Yeah, well, that's classic '90s electricity stuff.
Yeah, I guess to me that seemed more late '80s. But I guess it's only 92, so I don't know. I guess
we need to move on.
We got more benefit of the doubt. Yeah, go to the more interesting stuff. Sorry.
So, club owner JP takes a stroll through his club in nothing but his robe and red cowboy boots. He loves those boots.
He loves those boots, man.
When he notices his new statue has a hole in it, supposedly this is where the
box was.
Yeah, the lament configuration was ripped out of the statue by the club owner. Who went to the OR a minute ago. Anyway, he reaches inside the hole for some reason, and
which Cherry had, by the way, in her possession.
Yeah. Well, because the box was laying next to the body when she found him outside the club. Anyway, so he reaches inside the hole, and a rat bites the fuck out of him. Blood flies everywhere, and the statue absorbed the blood.
Well, that rat really bit down because he like could not get the rat off of him.
And there was a lot of blood. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That rat hit a vein. But like the statue absorbs the blood, and JP is freaked out and intrigued, which is why it ends up in his room later.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that would not have been my move, but okay.
No, yeah. He's more intrigued than horrified by it.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned before, JP is hooking up with this girl that he found in the club. Yeah. With his classic
classic Rose move, yeah.
And after he's done having sex with her, he tells her to take a hike. Like,
get out of here.
I'm not interested in actually talking to you.
Legit raises his voice, like, get out, I don't care. Basically.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just not interested. And she goes fair nuclear. I mean, it's, calls him out for being a piece of shit that he is.
Yeah.
And then the hell chains pop up out of the statue, like out of nowhere, and rip off her skin from her body. Just a franchise favorite move. And then swallows her whole.
Yeah. Drags her in.
And now Pinhead is available for a chat.
And
it's a cool effect.
Part of it is. And this is a thing that this movie has a problem with. And it's like, it starts off with some really gnarly, cool stuff, but then goes, ooh, I want to mess with this new technology. And it's just, then it doesn't work. And they try to blend the two together, like her getting sucked in and all that. Like, they started off really good.
Yeah.
And then her getting sucked in and stuff. It's like, oh, that looked terrible.
Yeah. Skin flaying looks great. Sucked in, less so.
And I feel like there's a lot of that throughout this whole movie.
But it's still like so messed up at the same time. You're like, yeah, that's good. Funny enough,
it had me enough on the skin flaying that I was able to be like, it didn't end it great, but yeah.
After the skin flaying, it's not the same actress in the
really?
in like the flesh suit. It's actually Paula Marshall.
Oh, really?
I guess they wanted to make her seem smaller, and she was a more diminutive actress or something. Since her flesh had all been ripped off. But yeah. It also might have been part of a reshoot thing because, according to Clive Barker, that was like he was unhappy with the original cut and he added a bit more gore, and that was one of the scenes he supposedly added.
Well, it worked.
It's a good scene. I liked it.
It's a good scene. Again, it doesn't end well, but good scene.
So later on, JP gets Terry to come back to his apartment, and he tries.
I liked it as much as I thought there was plenty of bad JP. 'Cause he's got this thing where he should be on The Outsiders or something at times. But I kind of enjoyed the parts where he kept going to the statue and being like, "Come to daddy," which is kind of a fun callback. But
to the first movie, he's trying to sweet talk her into being next to the statue. Yeah. And Terry resists and keeps on resisting, and then he's like, "Screw this," and he just says like, "I'm gonna force you," and starts trying to drag her over, and she like manifests like brass knuckles out of nowhere, and like lays his ass out. And like skin and Pinhead is like screaming throughout this like, give me food, whatever.
Which again is over the top and is actually really bad.
I love it.
It sucked me out. It really did. It was so bad.
But once he realizes his man JP is done, he's like, "Terry, wait," and starts talking with her. And he's like, "I can make you dream again."
Right, because this now is a callback to the weird dream thing she says earlier.
She's like, "I've never had a dream in my life."
Yeah. Okay. Well, what a horrible life you have.
Yeah, can't dream. What a bummer. Anyway, he basically offers her the same deal.
I'll let you dream. You could dream the rest of your life. Come on.
Just kick this body over to me.
Yeah. Haven't you always wanted to dream? Help me eat
Paul
this
Marshall weighs like 110 pounds and is having trouble pushing JP over to the statue. And like you said, I think it's
dwell
funny.
on it. We dwell on it for so long.
It's so funny, especially since she's crying the whole time as she's doing it. He's like, I can't, this isn't working. It's like, screw it. She like lays down and starts like kicking the body over. If it was a horror
comedy, this would be amazing.
You're not wrong, but I still makes me laugh.
It's not good. It's really bad, and it dwells way too long on this.
Eventually, like shit, she kicks the body over to the statue, and that's where JP wakes up. He's like, "Wait, no!" And then the hell chains pop out, starts getting into the flesh, and then these pistons appear out of nowhere, and these pipes just like pop through his brain. Yeah. End of JP. And she's about to walk away.
Is that supposed to be because of the sex obsession thing that he's got? The pistons ramming through? Is that kind of the thing, the metaphor they're going with, I guess?
Yeah, that seems right.
Okay.
Sure.
Fair enough.
This frees Pinhead from the Pillar of Souls. And Terry's about to run away, but then Pinhead's like, offers his hand. He's like, "Come on, baby. Time for your reward." Yeah. And we don't see Terry until much later when she turns into to be a Cenobite as well.
Yeah, this is a real long wait because I remember at one point taking the note like as she's getting chased through the street kind of deal, being like, what happened?
What happened to Terry? Yeah,
like what? Do we get an answer to this?
It's because we like Paula Marshall and she should have been more in the movie.
Yeah.
Pinhead makes all the weird sculptures in the club come alive then.
Yeah, it was kind of weird when the baby doll starts moving. I'm like, wait a minute, did that just move?
Yeah, it did. And this is my favorite bit in the movie. He makes all this weird sculptures come alive, and then all of a sudden, an explosion out of nowhere causes the bartender, played by Peter Atkins, to go flying across the room. Then Pinhead shows himself to the room and announces, "Shall we begin?"
Yeah.
And then he has a nice laugh.
Everybody freaks out.
Well, everyone freaks out and screams, and then hell chains start go flying everywhere. I love the one dude who like grabs the hell chain. It's either coming for his face or his girlfriend's face.
Yeah.
But it's like he has this like kung fu move where he grabs the chain,
Catches it. Yeah.
and then the chain just rips back and takes off his fingers. Like, it was a nice move there, guy.
There is so much that happens in this scene.
Oh, it's so great.
I have to pause multiple times to take notes because I was like, oh my God. Oh, I missed that. Hold on. Wait. And then I'm pausing again.
One guy gets immediately impaled by a flying pool cue out of nowhere.
Yeah.
My favorite might be is the ice in a woman's drink turns into vapor mass, so like Pinhead's head, and then turns into an ice knife and then goes through her throat.
Actually, I hated that part because that looked awful.
It's so funny.
Because you cut away too. Like, because you have to.
It almost looks like
special effects,
the Golden Child knife.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's like it just floats up and then it turns into it and then turns into the knife and then it cuts away and you see her falling with the thing in her mouth already. I thought that was awful. I thought that looked really bad.
I think the bartender gets the barbed wire over the face. The DJ gets CDs in the head.
That also looked awful, by the way. The flying CDs thing. No, come on. It's just so. I get it. Everybody's excited at this time period to start to use these kind of effects, and it's really bad. Really, really bad. I really like the part where at one point you see the chain that goes through like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
And it kind of connects them all. It's like, oh, that looked kind of cool.
Like a conga line.
Yeah, like all the practical looking stuff looked really cool and gnarly.
I agree.
And then every time they try to throw in this, the CGI stuff, and it's rough.
New York Yankee designated hitter Danny Tarble gets a hell chain flying up from a pool pocket into his face.
I read about this because wasn't he on the Yankees at this time?
He was, yeah. They showed a clip of this movie during a Yankee game, and I was like, "What the is going on?" And I'm like 9 years old at the time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, so this is what caused my obsession with Hellraiser, and it's funny how long it took me to finally work up the courage to watch it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I watched a Hellraiser before you did. Then you went off.
Yeah, and I was like, "You're wrong about the first Hellraiser. This is great."
Well, because again, as we talked about, I was kind of like, "Wait, where was Pinhead?" And
yeah, you're expecting to be another Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
So basically, everyone in the club is slaughtered, and we see the blood oozing out from beneath the club doors, the locked club doors. I did
like that. It had almost like a Shining feel to it. You just see more and more blood coming out, and I think you do hear more the chain going.
Yeah, you hear the chains and screaming. It's great.
Yeah.
So fast forward, Pinhead tries to grab the lament configuration from Joey, but it's shocked away, and she runs out of the club and down the street. And she is attacked then by like exploding manholes, electrified water, and hell chains from the sewers.
Yeah. And
it feels like
the cords almost moving on their own to try to electrocute her too. But yeah.
Yeah, this feels like maybe the most expensive scene in the movie.
Probably was. Because you had to shut it all down. Excuse me, I had to shut it down for all that.
Yeah, this is Greensboro in October, and I'm assuming it's like, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning or something when they're able to do this.
Probably. Yeah.
So later on, you got Spencer appearing in limbo with Pinhead, and Joey, and he begins taunting Pinhead. Says, "We're going to hell," Spencer says, and Pinhead responds with "Ladies first," and begins transforming Joey into a Cenobite.
Yeah,
and he tries to seduce Cenobite with like, "You know you love it, you miss it, it's great." Spencer grabs Pinhead and they merge together into like a gnarly bit of practical effects. I liked it. I think it looked really cool.
It again had a cool part of practical to it, but then when it started to mix in the CG stuff, it ended up
There's
looking
so
bad.
quick flashes they know it doesn't look great. So I think it's like a 90 80 20 a 90 10 80 20 something situation of practical versus CGI.
Yeah.
Or whatever you would call those kind of effects, digital effects at the time.
Right.
But I think it works.
It's probably one of the better moments. Like, it's definitely better than the CD guy getting CD'd.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
Now merged as one Pinhead. The one true Pinhead.
Yeah.
Janet turns to Joey and says, "Now where were we?"
Yeah.
But then
at this point, she was freed and starts messing with the box.
Yeah, Pinhead morphs into Spencer again and tells Joey to open the box and send them to hell. And Joey opens the box and it transforms into a knife, which she stabs Pinhead with and sends him to hell and her back home.
Yeah.
So I gave action a 4. I loved all the gore. I was always really excited when I saw some nastiness. Wow. It was good.
I went 3.
Okay. Yeah,
I went 3.
Definitely going to have some different scores for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely got gnarly and practical, but I thought there was also some really bad stuff with the CG type of stuff, with everything in the obelisk. There was some rough moments with it too.
I enjoyed most of the stuff in the obelisk. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't bother me.
Okay, terrible, but all right, fair enough. All right, sidekick mentor.
Yeah, this is another low-scoring one.
Yeah,
closest thing this movie has to sidekick is Terry, played by Paula Marshall.
Right.
It's what's weird about her is that she's basically everyone's sidekick in this movie.
Yeah.
She starts off first as like JP's girlfriend and is basically.
But you don't see that really.
No. But she's basically a homeless club girl.
Yeah.
And then she helps Joey investigate and becomes her sidekick. And is frankly a little better at investigating than Joey is.
Yeah, I mean, and she's really just interested in someone that seems to have such a better life than her and wanting it. Seems almost like a jealousy of wanting that life and being a part of it type of deal. And seems so thrilled to be able to stay there, and she burns breakfast.
Yeah.
And
eventually she becomes Pinhead's lackey.
Yeah. Which she like smokes like 2 times in the movie, and then they give her like a tracheotomy with a cigarette coming out of her.
She was the Fangoria magazine visited the set for this movie, and they said like everyone was getting along great. The only complaints we heard was from Paula Marshall in these night shoots, where she's in Cenobite gear and she's like, "I am freezing my ass off. Like this is not keeping me warm enough." And it's funny enough, even the people who were covered head to toe were like, "This is not warm enough." I am the CD Cenobite guy when they were interviewing him years later was like, "All I remember is how bad the suit smelled and how cold I was during those night suits."
Wow. I wonder what time they filmed it then. They filmed it in October? Was that cold?
I guess in 1992, October in North Carolina was very cold, and it was probably like at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, again, if it's probably 2 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of cold. Yeah. Okay.
It's like you mentioned, Terry burns the fuck out of breakfast as a thank you to Joey for letting her stay.
Yeah.
And tells her where JP got the statue, and she gives her the lament configuration that she got from Chain Boy after he broke it off and got messed up. Let's see, where else? She then breaks into the art gallery so she and Joey can investigate, and finally she's the one who finds the records of where the art gallery found the statue. True. The Chenard Institute. Fun callback to part 2.
She also referred to herself as a breakfast virgin.
That's right. There it is.
Want to throw it out there. Yep.
Terry gets seduced to open the lament configuration, but JP calls her and invites her back with him.
Well, she was going to turn it down until she hears another phone call, and it turns out that Joey's getting a job from somewhere completely different after she was asked to stay.
Monterey. And I'm like laughing at this. Like, come on, Pinhead, really? Like, what reporter is leaving New York to go to Monterey? Yeah. That's not a thing.
It's kind of a weird, kind of a weird thing. But it doesn't matter because I don't. As much as she seems to be the one that's like uncovering things, she's clearly depicted as not being that smart
No.
or gullible herself.
True.
So
yeah, like I said, she gets seduced by Pinhead and turns into a Cenobite and doesn't get a lot of screen time as a Cenobite. She gets sucked to hell
very
pretty
short.
quick.
Her and JP are both pretty short.
Yeah,
because they come up together and they just all they do is kick her around and that's it. Like they don't have
burn
any.
her a little. And,
yeah, they don't have anything near as fun as the other Cenobites get to do.
No.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 1.5.
I did too. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Paul
exactly
Marshall
what I gave.
is not bad. I would have liked to have seen more of her. She's fun to look at. Like
She's-
Carrie Farrell, but
she's
there's not a
pretty
lot
good
there.
actress. Yeah, there's not much there.
So my final score for this movie is an 11.
I have it at 9.5.
Okay, yeah, this is a separate score. I'm messing around.
You're not messing around.
You
got it at 11.
Yeah,
So you have this movie over Kronos.
Kronos is a better movie. It is.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you realize that.
100% Kronos is a better movie. I don't care. I love this movie still.
Okay.
It is, I recognize all its flaws. I have not been dismissive of its flaws. But what works, works great. And I love it so much for the stuff that really works great.
All right. Well, I have it as a 9.5, so I have it as the 4th.
And I have his 3rd.
So, I mean, I guess it's not too. I mean, hey, we still have it both kind of like in the top 5, so it's not too crazy.
Yeah.
Like you were making me feel like we were like going to be way off from each other.
I was sure you were going to destroy the whole thing. So
Well, yeah, because you know how I feel about this kind of a genre of horror. Like it's not exactly my thing. So really, yeah, it's just that Hellraiser and Kronos is flipped for us.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I already actually kind of dropped in most of my little tidbits throughout this, or what we've talked about already. But this movie was filmed back to back with Children of the Corn 2. The same film crew worked on both movies. They did Children of the Corn 2
both
right
in
after
North
this.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Same crew.
Oh, wow. I didn't know there was more North Carolina movies.
Yep. And then budget of $5 million, which is a little under $11 million today. This movie had a worldwide gross of $12.5 million, a little under $27.5 million today. When it came out, it debuted in 3rd place with $3.2 million. And it lost to Sneakers in its first week of release. And
I guess that's fair.
Honeymoon in Vegas in its second.
I have a weird thing for that movie.
In its 5th week of release was Pet Sematary 2.
Oh, wow.
In the same weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm sorry, 5th week of release, Pet Sematary came in 7th place. Anyway, but yeah, there you go. Okay. So that's everything for Hellraiser 3. It's not the best Hellraiser movie, but
no,
I love it so.
Love is strong, but yeah, I mean, heck, I have to say, right? I definitely liked it more than I thought. Like I thought it was gonna be way cheesier or bad, but don't get me wrong, plenty
it's
bad
fun.
there, but there is
lots of
definitely
fun.
Enough fun there. But
yeah, hats off to Doug Bradley, who is just awesome. So my choice for next week.
Yeah. Now that because you said it was dependent on how I was gonna go sway with this movie, so
yeah. Well, I need your help this weekend putting together a table. So I am.
This is
and you were very nice to this movie. I thought you were gonna be mean.
And this is gonna be difficult too because it's coinciding with horror movie weekend for us. Our tradition begins. Yeah. People are going to hear this after our tradition, so who knows? We've talked about maybe bonus episodes. We'll see if that ends up happening. But we do start our tradition of picking like 2 horror movies every weekend the whole month of October. So
that we watch together.
Those we watch together. Yes. So we'll see.
So I decided to be nice, and we're going to be fun. We're going to go with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because we were kind of worried we did too many horror comedies and fun horror, so I wasn't sure we were going to go back to one in a while.
There's still so many to go through.
I don't know about that many. It doesn't feel like a lot to me, but yeah, I'm excited.
Well, it depends on how you. There's still a few. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Still got Army of Darkness, Death Becomes Her, Lawnmower Man. Really,
there's
Sleepwalkers.
Those, but I don't know if those ones are purposely funny. Buffy is purposely, and Army is purposely funny.
Well, the only one who's not purposely funny is Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, for sure.
The rest are purposely funny.
Sleepwalker's purposely funny?
Yeah, I think so.
What? Okay. Well, I'm excited. I haven't revisited in a while, so I'm oh, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I thought you had. Yes. All right, people. Love you.
I know. Love you. Yep.
All
right, man. That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or if you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
I am the way.